open a resume. That's a great way to start this off.
Resumes are important.
Alright. We're doing gaming news. It is March 31st, 2019. I am Astrid Aphid, and I am joined by my co-host.
I'm Calabash.
And what have y'all been playing this week?
I haven't been playing anything.
Alright, well, what have you been playing this week?
Well, a mixture of RimWorld and Overwatch.
Yeah?
Yeah, I am a pretty basic person when it comes to gaming, and I'll stick to the same things for a while until I burn myself out on them for months.
So last week we talked about the new hero Baptiste. How's that working out in Overwatch?
He's pretty good. He's pretty fun. I don't know if it's really going to be
Meta changing?
Yeah, but he has some very interesting abilities, and I don't know. Time will tell.
Okay. And what have you been doing on RimWorld?
Well, I got a colony basically to where I could have been researching Starflight, and just getting burned out on it.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, oof.
Yeah.
I'm just not having fun now that I've researched all the things to finish the game.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, that is the ultimate resolution, I guess, of that game. Once you've burned through all the research. But yeah, I would encourage you to then go back and then, try to accept all of those quests, start migrating people, go to other towns.
That's true.
Because we really just play the tip of the iceberg of the game. Then you can get into modding, get content mods, all kinds of extra goodies. But I hope we don't get too burned out before Nathan plays with us in a land.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's a different
yeah,
entirely.
whole different beast.
Yep.
But I've been playing Path of Exile. I've been doing a witch, and really it's the first time I've run through the game. And Path of Exile is a Diablo-esque game. It remarkably like Diablo, ridiculously Diablo.
But I mean, don't they have one of the designers?
They have there's a lot of overlapping people, personnel, details, culture, designs, lots of good stuff. I'm following a 7-4 minion mass summoner build. I haven't got to 74 minions yet, but it just sounds awesome, the idea.
That does sound pretty
You
ridiculous.
have 74 minions running along with you. The mechanics of it are pretty freaking easy. Right now I summon zombies, and then when my zombies kill people, they have the chance to summon specters, and then all of my other skills basically have other summoning abilities, and then same thing. Eventually I'll get more gems that allow me to proc more types of summons based off of those minions killing things. That's how you ideally get 74 minions just running around wrecking shit. And it's been fun. Talked about before, the talent tree and like the gym system is super challenging. I've definitely got to the part where I'm like, oh, I'm level 40 and I'm still wearing like gear from level 21 because I don't want to have to spend time to literally just change all the gyms, redo all of the colors, retie the socket combinations because it's a lot of work.
Are you leveling up that fast to where like?
I mean, yeah, it's the game is really good about making you progress real fast. So it's just one of those things that it's like, well, you're lagging behind because now you could be having an additional plus 20 statistic, item gear. And there's a couple things that I'm probably not doing appropriately just because it's the first time running through the game. There's a section where you can take 3 types of the same gear piece and meld it together to make an awesome piece of gear. And I just haven't really touched basis on that. And then the actual league, the Synthesis League, is the new league that we're all playing in, which is all attached to these stupid memories. I really don't give 2 shits about the whole memory mechanic, so I've also kind of been avoiding that, and that's the sole part of the league itself, but I'm still enjoying the Path of the Exile game.
Nice. Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
But yeah, if y'all want to check it out, it's free. You can download it on Steam. No monies. I haven't spent any money, and so far I don't need any extra loot slots, so I haven't been tempted to do so. And you have portals that you can just summon to teleport back and forth between areas and towns. So yeah, it's been fun.
I wonder how they make their money.
Cosmetics. Your character looks jank as fuck because of the default gear stuff, and people are like, "Hey, I've put time into this game. I want my guy to look like a badass." And it's like, okay, well, you can have glowing wings for $15. Someone's like, done. Because then every time they create a new character in the league, the character already looks more badass than everyone else because they have glowing wings. And I'm like, I can see that. Like, I could see once I get into it, maybe throwing $20 at it and getting some cosmetic.
And I mean, you've enjoyed their game, so it helps you to want to actually give them money. It's like
transmogrification from World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But transmogs. But you have to have, my understanding at least, hopefully I'm not spreading misinformation, that you have to have spent real money in order to get those transmogs. So you're always going to look like a Skyrim character where there's not a lot of color, there's not a lot of awesome. Yeah. You're like, even your epic stuff is just like, well, we have white, silver, and gray. Is it impressive? If not, spend a couple bucks.
But I mean, they gotta make their money somewhere.
Yeah, and it's clearly working. I don't know how many leagues they've gone through, but it's been quite some time, and it works because I'm getting into it now. So, our first article for us to talk about is Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 got debuted at PAX. Fortunately, they had some technical issues that arose when they were trying to showcase their trailers. Their trailer claimed that they all have 1 billion guns created, which will actually be a new Guinness World Record book. They previously hold the previous record.
I was like, I feel like
so they're just beating themselves at it.
Well, I mean, better to beat yourself than let someone else do it, right?
Yeah. I don't remember. It was so many millions of guns for the previous one. But the way they do it is just random number generators. They're not physically creating the stuff, but it is kind of funny to think about the number of stuff that's custom that their game is able to come up with.
Because they are creating a lot of custom models, but there will be But they're assigning them to each company.
Yeah,
with different. I guess it's like the element combinations and the bonus effects and stuff is why they're claiming it's a billion. And
it's literally down to also like statistics. Like you can have guns that look alike, but we called it something different because this one shoots faster than the other. So it's technically still a unique gun because this one's different statistics. So that's why they can say 1 billion, because I mean a billion is a lot.
Yeah, a billion is a lot.
Like a lot of people underestimate how much a billion is. It's easy. It's easy to say I comprehend that number, but it's hard to like actually visualize.
Yeah.
They showcased the trailer, talked about that the new Borderlands 3 will have 1 billion guns. They also talked about they're going to do a digital remaster of Borderlands 1. And if I understand everything correctly, if you already own it, you'll get it for free, and it's going to be like a patch. It's just going to like occur and happen.
Oh, that's cool. So kind of like whenever Divinity did their update.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, they're just saying that if you own it, you'll just automatically have it, and you'll just notice that your game is more awesome. So that seems cool. During the PAX reveal, a actual magician appeared on stage.
What?
Yeah, and
I didn't even watch that.
It's as terrible as you're imagining. It's absolutely awful.
I mean, when you say magician, there's a very broad spectrum that goes through my head.
He's wearing a top hat, and he has the whole, atypical garb with like a fucking wand and shtick.
Oh my gosh.
And they did this because they wanted to reveal that they're going to do a trading card game.
Why would they use a magician?
Because he made the cards inside the package get signed magically. But of course, if you know anything, you realize he just, he signed the cards and resealed the package.
Yeah.
I actually watched a YouTube video about people screwing people over and doing that with magic cards, where they rip open the bottom, take out the good rares, and then put in really cheap rares that are just bullshit. Then take a little bit of glue at the bottom and then seal it back up. And it's like actual comic book shops and stores doing that.
Wow.
So now they're like telling you to run your fingers across and see if you can feel any hard residue to see if someone's tampered with it.
That's insane.
Yeah. But if there's a way to make a buck, there's
Yeah.
always going to be someone out there doing it. The Borderlands 3 platforms were not announced. They were not in any of the trailers. So, based off of previous Twitter usage, I really think it's going to be an Epic exclusive. I think they intentionally didn't announce that it was going to be on the Epic Store because they know they would get booed for saying that it's not on Steam.
Yeah, and that's pretty smart on their part.
So that's my guess. Nothing definitive yet, but they did say they would reveal more. I think on the 3rd of April.
3rd of April, you say?
Which is in a couple days. So yeah. That's it about Borderlands 3. Do y'all have any other impressions about the game, the franchise as a whole, recommendations to play it, etc.?
You've played it a fair amount, haven't you, Rico?
Yep. I have.
Alright then, we'll go to the Sony executive. Kaz Hirai retires. Kaz originally started working out at Sony in 1984 in the marketing department. In 1996, he became the COO of the Sony video game department and the president of Sony between 2012 and 2018. Recently, he stepped down in 2019 to become a chairman, and now he's officially retired as a paid permanent advisor. Man, that guy has stuck around for Sony for a very long time. He made a career out of it, and he credits his video game success as the COO directly to second-party developers, aka video game exclusives. So there's your man from Sony who really figured out the recipe. Sony exclusives are a huge breadwinner. And he also took it on in 2012, right before they released PlayStation 4. So it was right when Sony was in the tank. But of course, PlayStation 4 came out, and they've been, doing relatively great since. A lot better than Microsoft, in my opinion. But yeah, a lot of executives have been switching hands at video game corporations. I don't remember if we talked about it, but Nintendo recently had people switch hands with Reggie retiring.
Yeah.
And Bowser showing up.
I wonder if that's just his name. If that's his actual family name is Bowser.
I mean, if not, it's a clever.
I wonder if he's
a clever gimmick. Yeah, maybe he's like a singer. He's just using it as something to be in place.
Persona.
Yeah. But we'll go on to our next article. Monolith Soft hiring new Zelda maybe? Question mark. Monolith Soft is known for the Xenoblade series, but they also made Zelda Breath of the Wild. So, I don't know, maybe a new Zelda game?
Maybe.
Also, that's basically going to be coming up is the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake on the Game Boy Classic. And Cadence of Hyrule on Nintendo Switch, which I'm told is literally Crypt of the Necromancer plus Zelda. So I guess Nintendo has maybe 3 upcoming Zelda games coming around the corner.
What's the Game Boy Classic?
I'm not sure. I assume it's a emulator. Honestly, is what I assumed it was. But I don't know. Maybe it's a handheld. Not really sure.
Yeah.
Game Boy Classic. Oh, Gizmodo's got an article about it. It's widely assumed that the next classic edition of retro hardware from Nintendo will be a tiny version of an N64.
Oh, this is just speculation.
Oh.
Nintendo has a number of other Zelda projects in the pipeline. Excitingly, one of those is a remake of the Game Boy Classic, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which is being reborn as a new experience for Switch.
Oh, okay. So it's coming out on Switch instead.
I thought they were introducing something new, the Game Boy Classic.
But my mistake, coming out on the Switch, so if you've got a Switch, you can look forward to new Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening being remade on Switch. Which is, I guess, technically their new version of their Game Boy anyway. Kind of befuddled me for a second of them going back to the classic Game Boy. But our next article is Star Citizens gets an update. Alpha 3.5 update brings female avatars finally playable to the game. A new planet is also added called ArcCorp, which is in the Staten system. ArcCorp will be a fully urbanized area. New ships are also added. The new ship is called the Miscellaneous Reliance Series. Terrible name. They also added an updated flight system controls. The minimum entry barrier to Star Citizen is $45, but of course, it is the game that's all about microtransactions. I might get into it though. I keep thinking about playing this game.
See, I remember Max, whenever this first, like, the alpha was or opened up, basically, he showed me videos of it and was like, dude, I'm thinking about getting it. And I was like, don't buy that. It's not even in beta or anything. Like, and it's still not technically out. Like, they're shooting for a 2020 release.
Yeah, they're notoriously just continuously in development because
It's like art.
they did everything by modules. It's kind of an interesting idea. Where normally you would do like a proof of concept, and that's what they sold basically, was a proof of concept. And then everybody continuously, through microtransactions of buying new ships that they make, and new skins and all that other stuff, supports future modules. So my understanding was they had a ridiculous list of modules that they wanted to create, and they're like, as long as we can get the community to pay us enough money to support the creation of all these modules, then yeah, like, we'll wait. I don't even know how many years it's been, but yeah, 4 or 5 whatever years until the entire development's done. And then if they did run out of money, they would still just publish the game, you know, and say it's a full product, pay full house for it, and then you would just be able to then reap the money from that to build the remaining modules. It's kind of an ingenious business model, really.
I mean, as long as your product's good.
Yeah, I mean,
And evidently it's good enough to keep this going.
if you've, it's what it is like graphically like unquestionable is what it is. Whether or not it's fun, that's the player questions, whether you enjoy doing stuff like that. But graphics wise, because of the money that's been thrown at it, it's just so ridiculous. And that's what it's really a champion of, is you just want a game that's about high fidelity graphics in space. Bam, Star Citizen. There's of course all kinds of other stuff, but I haven't played it. All I can say is when I look at the graphics, I'm just like, oh my god, that's gameplay. I don't know if my computer will ever look like that.
Right.
It might be running 2 fucking TIs, and I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
But
no more reason to build a new computer.
yeah, I'm thinking about getting into it though. At $45, I get my own chip and try it out. So
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt.
yeah, might try it. We'll jump to our next article. Valve's VR headset called the Valve Index. Unfortunately, that's literally all the information we have about it, except more information in May 2019. So yeah, Valve's back to building hardware and it's VR now.
See, VR is cool.
Mhm.
I've used it. I've used a lot of the what's it's the Oculus units. But I just do not care, and it's hard for me to justify basically devoting a rig as expensive as you'll need to a VR.
Well, you say they did come out with those recent VR headsets that you don't need a
that's
computer
true.
for.
That's true.
It's just you offset the high fidelity graphics at that point, the refresh rate, and all that jazz. So you kind of get a crappier VR experience, but you don't have to have that huge investment.
It's bad when you do like that.
It's definitely one of those like ridiculous expensive toys because you're talking about having at least $1,000 gaming computer, and I say at least.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna spend, from my understanding, is at least $500 on a VR. Probably closer to having a $2,000 combo there. That's a hefty price for any sort of toy or gimmick. That's a car for most people.
Yeah.
So, I myself don't have one. I've thought about getting one, but it's definitely like building a new computer first and then toying with the idea of maybe I'll save up enough money to get a VR.
Right.
And you'd want to get like the best out there. You wouldn't really want to get a bare minimum entry point. You're trying to do that, and then you'd get like PlayStation VR. If you already had a PlayStation, you'd just get the console version. Or you get that horrendous new Oculus that doesn't require a computer. I don't think that's going to be a hit. I'm so dissatisfied that that's what they spend all of their time
I don't know.
research and development in.
Depending on their marketing, it could do really well.
I mean, it's definitely for Zuckerberg getting people interested overseas. I'm sure they'll make money off of it. I'm just obviously not the consumer it's intended for.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we're too old.
Well, I mean, we just have computers. Like we
Yeah.
have that tiny little breach point where it's like we could probably run VR. We just need to upgrade a component and buy the actual VR
I see
headset.
the bill.
Well, I mean, we did the test originally, and they're all just bottlenecked usually by one component.
Yeah.
Whether it's the graphics card or the memory or the processor. It's the processor, of course. You have to
Mine's the
build a
processor.
new computer. But we go to our next article. Risk of Rain 2 is officially in early access on Steam. I am not a fan of ever recommending games in early access because it means they're incomplete and you're rewarding developers for this ridiculous model.
Yeah.
But here it is, Risk of Rain 2 early access. If you played Risk of Rain 1, Risk of Rain 1 was 2D. This one's in 3D.
Game looks fun.
Yeah, so it's a rogue, just chaotic survival game. So it's very crazy that they added a third dimension. I watched a couple people streaming it on Twitch just for a little bit of time. Looks fun. You can get it on Steam for $20. Up to 4 players can play. Specifically said that you did not have to do port forwarding, which tickles me to death because that means that they really, tried to set up their own system, make sure that everybody can join appropriately, and that you're not sitting there having technical difficulties. If we ever go and do the Diablo game from Battle.net, as the first thing we'll have to do is deal with port forwarding. Because, that's just to deal with Battle.net. You have to open up ports in order to have Battle.net communicate with other computers. But, the reviews are already overwhelmingly positive, and there's like 5,405 reviews as of the time me writing up this original template today. So yeah, it looks like the game's gonna go pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it looks fun.
Yeah.
The write-up in the article we have linked is pretty good. I mean, it encourages you that the game seems challenging. That's for sure.
Yep.
And I mean, I didn't play the original Risk of Rain.
And that's what you want in a roguelike, though. It's just something that's constantly challenging because you're going to keep going back to the game with a variety of different, gear sets.
Yeah.
We'll go to our next article, which is Bethesda reveals Elder Scrolls 6 technology because they are so far away from the actual game. They did showcase a 25 years of Elder Scrolls celebration video, and inside there they talked about a couple of things in Elder Scrolls 6. Among them included the infamous Skyrim grandma from YouTube. Are either of y'all familiar with this woman?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of her stuff.
I have also seen some of it. I was wondering how cross-generational that was, or you really just needed to be on Reddit or YouTube at the time to know who she was.
Yeah, but
she's a grandma. She's a fairly old woman, and she's super popular. All of the fans made a petition actually in order to get her as a character involved in the upcoming game. And she kind of had this sort of depressing tweet saying that because of her age and because of the release date, it wasn't likely that she was going to make it until the next game came out. Well, the developers were like, we got you covered, we're going to immortalize you and make you an official NPC into the game.
That's pretty dope, though.
Yeah, they did green screen technology, did mocap.
Much needed PR.
Yeah, she's officially in the game for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, that's cool, though. That's good.
Yeah. They also talked about they'll be using photogrammetry, which is basically the idea of taking a 3D scan of real-world assets, and then you do the same thing with the textures. So you take a picture of that, and that way you're literally just taking a 3D model and a 3D picture and copying it and shrinking it down, or not even modifying the size and placing it in your virtual reality. So it looks realistic because that's a real thing, like to a ridiculous precision that you would not believe.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah. So Elder Scrolls 6 will look amazing.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Just because of the terrain wise, them using that. However, it's a little pet peeve, but they're still using the creation engine, and that is their engine, of course, but oh, buddy, is it lagging behind in the ages. You can kind of scroll through their development updates and just see the kind of stuff that they work on, and oh, buddy, do they need to sink a lot of money into the product. You can look at Fallout 76, and a lot of times you question why bugs are apparent in there. Well, if they're physical bugs or graphical bugs, like clipping and stuff like that, built into the engine that they've been using for decades now. And so when they did fixes and repairs, it's usually additional scripts. It's not additional fixes to the physical way the game engine operates. So that's why you a lot of times see a lot of physics-based bugs all across all their games. And it's kind of unfortunate that they're really gung-ho about their creation engine, especially according to their Twitter feed. They're just all about that life. They'll never change. They claim that they love it because it allows them to create things so quick and fast. And everybody else is like, good God. Please have someone update it. I'm like, we're working on it.
Hey, they'll get there eventually.
Eventually. It just, man, we were talking about I think it was the Unreal Engine last week, about the demos that they revealed of the ray tracing technology.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, compare that to the creation engine. You ever see a demo for the creation engine?
That's true.
There's a reason. They're not coming out with stunning ray tracing technology.
Yeah, but I mean, they do create pretty large populated areas.
And I mean, that's the thing, is that they're happy because they can get that template set up so quickly, and it saves them so much time that you would normally have placing assets. But oof, it's there's not enough positive
There's
things.
always good give and take.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like that there's enough positive things in that engine anymore. So I'd really appreciate some polish. I'm gonna jump into the next section, which
So
I'm calling
launch 2023.
Oh yeah, estimated launch. Nothing official, but
For what?
there was a video that they had that was a dev keynote where they were on stage for a couple hours, and they didn't want to talk about specifics, but they said it was really, really far out, and just based off of dev cycles and the fact that they've done mocap technology, it takes 3 to 5 years to make a game. Estimated launch 2020.
For what?
Elder Scrolls 6.
That's your guess?
Yep. Well, not just mine, but other people that are developers, and I don't remember if it was in that article or in that video. But yeah, that was the quote. So we've got 4 years. A lot of people forget how long video games take.
Oh no, they take a long.
Yeah, and developers like Blizzard have really tried to get away with that. Get away from that. They're renowned for those 8-year cycles. Actually, they're just hammering away from concept to completion.
Yep. I appreciate that though.
Yep. Jump to the next section, which I'm calling Tech Fads. I might just come up with a whole new YouTube series where I just talk about computer crap, because I don't even know why it's in here, except it's somewhat gaming related. There's 49-inch monitors everywhere now. I don't know if you've seen them, but a lot of them are really, really curved.
Yeah.
And not really the angle that matters, but a lot of them, people I've seen are buying them for gaming because, hey, when you're doing that first-person shooter, look at all the fucking graphic space. The huge cutback though is that they have 60 hertz
Refresh rate.
Yeah, so that means that you're only getting 60 frames per second. And most of your first-person shooters, I mean, you would really benefit from 120 to 144 hertz refresh rate, or if you want to go all out, 244, 240, whatever the numbers are. Lost myself now, but yeah, if you can get more frames because of your better graphics card, you want your monitor to be able to show those frames, and if you're bottlenecked by that refresh rate, you shouldn't be buying that monitor for gaming. However, for the office use, it is amazing. You get 3 windows all at once. Do all kinds of crazy multitasking. I have 2 16:9 monitors that are 3K, and I keep thinking about buying another 2 and putting on another desk. I'm really tempted to just buy 2 49-inch monitors and just be like the ultimate battle station. It'd be amazing. I'd have 6 windows. I don't know what I'd do with myself, but it would look amazing. And I don't have higher refresh rate monitors because I don't do stuff for gaming. I do stuff for graphics because I'm busy.
Well, I bought this monitor thinking it was 144 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
Sole reason I bought it, and it's capped at 60. And the box even advertises 144, and I'm super salty about it.
Ooh, are you sure it's not like a graphics setting thing?
Yeah. Because or maybe if you want to look, but I'm 90% sure.
That is, man.
Salty about it.
I was like, sometimes it is just a setting thing, but sometimes also, yeah, because you get people who jip you.
Yep. So I just capped my frames per second to 60 because there's no point in pushing my computer to put out more.
Exactly.
If it can just run, if it can only do 60.
Yep.
Aggravating.
Oh, retcon, did we have any eBay listings for this evening?
Yeah, I have one.
Alright, we'll hop into that.
This is Bloodshot. It's for the Sega Genesis. Never came out here in the United States.
Denmark, eh?
This,
Oh, wait,
no, Bomark.
Wow.
Or Domark
I am.
Limited. This is a prototype edition that was meant to be released for the North American market. but instead it was put on a I forgot what it was actually called. But essentially their online service they released in 1994 ran for 4 years. You could download this game.
Oh, that's crazy.
But this is the prototype that was never released. So you can see they've opened it up, shown you the components.
Little cartridge there.
Wow.
In the bare PCB board.
They don't understand collector's items work.
Here it is, actually in play.
Although I guess it was on prior to this, so.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You know it's in working order.
It's a prototype of the unreleased North American version of the Sega Genesis shooter Bloodshot. The game works great. There are some scuffs and scratches on the cart and the label, though no really severe wear and nothing that affects gameplay. This is an official prototype and not a reprogrammed game. Please ask if there are any questions. This is the US Canadian NTSC format version of the game. International buyers, please make sure that your console can play this format before requesting any shipping price quote. So yeah, don't bother him if you're not going to buy it. If being shipped outside the US, please be aware that import taxes may be charged by your post office and are the buyer's responsibility to pay. Please do not ask me to declare this as a gift with low value on customs forms. Thanks for looking. Good luck.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So, what do you guys think
I'm gonna throw a number out there and say $100.
See, I was thinking like 200 to 300, but to narrow it down, I'll just say 250.
Ooh.
We've got
Jesus.
$1,999.95.
Oh man.
We've got 30, or well, we have 20 or 30 people watching.
I wonder if it's one of those games that they just don't have like a ROM of it, so it's you need the physical. No. You can
No,
go
and I mean
download it.
you can find other versions of it.
Maybe because it is so niche.
That kind of blows me away. Maybe it's a cool game.
I should like here's the carton box for another edition of it.
For like $50. So it's specifically because it's the prototype.
Yeah.
Right, but this is one that came out and like wasn't actually North American release, so it would have been in another country.
Yep, that's astonishing though in price difference. I would not pay that much.
I guess
for a
it's-
prototype game.
Yeah, but I mean, how many are there? That's also a good.
I'm sure there's one. I'm sure there's not many prototypes of it, you know.
That's true.
Especially being on a physical cartridge. Most of them, I'm sure they would overwrite and put a new sticker on it. The equivalent of their version of a floppy disk.
That's wild.
But yeah, that's impressive. Thank you for sharing that. with us.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh, this is the one I want to pick for today.
Yeah, it's very different.
Didn't have to look very long.
So I'm gonna jump to our last subject of the night, which is media recommendations. What have y'all been watching, listening, or reading?
Just the dubbed version of Food Wars.
Well, Food Wars is amazing. I do love me some Food Wars.
And also Black Clover, but I don't recommend it, so it's not a recommendation.
Yeah, I was gonna say I walked into part of it and, I saw the whole spiel about the clover.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many times he announces that he's going to be the Wizard King. It's basically Naruto, but with magic.
Anime's so hard to take seriously.
I die every time I hear that. Just get yelled out of the living room. I'm dying.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, I got halfway through the season and wasn't dubbed anymore. I was like, okay, I'm free.
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah.
I've been watching Portlandia. Some.
Where's that?
It's by Fred Armisen and Carrie. Oh God, I'm blanking on her last name. Look it up. Because I feel bad.
Keywords are in front of me.
I know, but like, I didn't want to have to go through the effort, Brian.
Okay. But anyways, tell me what
Anyways,
the show-
it's like sketch comedy, and I think it's scary.
And there's a plot, and the plot is.
Yeah, Carrie Brownstein Stein. His
Mhm.
name. I don't know.
And the plot.
There's no like real plot. There's a bunch of like, there's I guess multiple plots. Some bits that run into like long running bits.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just it's sketch comedy.
Yep. Alright.
Just about the unique, weird culture that is in Portland, like the Northwest Pacific culture. Very,
Very different. Very
yeah.
specific.
Well,
very
I mean,
niche.
yeah, especially from our culture down here in Texas.
Yeah, yeehaw, motherfucker.
I ride horses. I don't, but I know how to.
You're not helping with stereotypes, man.
Doesn't matter. I also like to shoot guns.
Yep, just and the redneck tendencies.
I mean, that's okay.
I've been watching Planet Earth, the first season.
Oh yeah.
Planet Earth is amazing.
Is it Morgan Freeman who narrates?
No,
Or is
it's
it Sir
David Attenborough. Yes.
Yeah. The
Wonderful.
very outspoken.
He makes you give a shit about things that
Yeah.
you normally wouldn't give a shit about.
Like nature and the environment.
And there's so many shots I'm just like, how? Like, you just like left a camera in a pool of crocodiles? Like, I need to
Zoom.
Yeah, like
Hyper clear zoom.
I mean, were you hovering in a helicopter and you just like drop it on a rope? Like, what do you? I want to see like behind the scenes of making Planet Earth. That's what I'm really interested in, I guess.
You're getting distracted by how great everything looks, and you're like, how did they get this shot?
Yeah, like it really is amazing. I'm sure it won awards for just how amazing the series is as a documentary about animals. There's animals I've never seen before that I'm like, that shit is alien.
Damn, nature, you scary.
Yeah, like
If you haven't seen that bit, watch it. YouTube that.
that is something else. I also watched the movie Being John Malkovich, which I had never seen before, and was what a wonky premise is. To explain it to somebody, there's a guy who wants to cheat on his wife. His wife is a loon and takes care of all kinds of animals like a chimp, an iguana, and all of this other crazy shit. And he's a psychopath who wants to be a puppeteer. Alright? Eventually, he comes to the point where he's like, I have to get a real job because no one gives a shit about puppeteers.
That is a pretty accurate statement.
So he gets an office job as a filing clerk because he's good with his fingers. And when he goes to this office, you basically realize this movie's just like absolutely crazy. He goes to the office and it's on floor 7.5.
What?
So it just turns into like Harry Potter ridiculousness where sort of there's really low ceilings and there's people who say that they have speech impediments but they don't. And there's people who just say, I don't understand what you're saying, you're obviously a fucking retard. And just all kinds of ridiculously offensive stuff. There's people that just instantly assume that they're hitting on him when he's just trying to have a normal conversation. And then he definitely does want to leave his wife and tries to hook up with another female who ultimately betrays him, and he finds a porthole in his office that leads to the consciousness of John Malkovich, who IRL is a famous actor who's in such famous movies as and
Stuff.
Yeah, and that's the joke that's constantly in the movies. No one remembers what fucking movies he's from.
Yeah. Con Air.
He's in a bunch of stuff. Like, it really is true. Like, he's got quite the breadth of movies. He's in this movie, for example.
He's in this movie a lot. From the one clip I've seen.
Yeah. Well, that's all CGI. So
Oh, yeah.
You go through John Malkovich's subconscious and you get 15 minutes as John Malkovich. And then you get shit out at the side of a highway. And they decide they're going to sell this idea to other people because John Malkovich is so confident in himself that people are having like euphoric reactions to being so assertive and just knowing what you're going to do with your life and just having the experience of being John Malkovich. So they get everybody to pay $200 for 15 minutes of being John Malkovich, to the point where John Malkovich himself finds out about it, and then the scene that I'm sure you've seen that you're referring to is when John Malkovich goes through his own portal and answers the ultimate question: what happens when you really look inside yourself? And everything just becomes John Malkovich. It's very scary.
It's very, very, very off-putting. I'm like, whoa, this is extremely weird.
They use CGI to replace everybody's head in John Malkovich. And
Yeah.
everybody just says,
John Malkovich.
yeah. Most of them just say Malkovich or like the syllables, like Mal, bitch. And you're like, oh my god, it's a nightmare.
John Malkovich. John Malkovich.
Yeah. But yeah, highly recommend that movie if you're wanting to get weirded out and watch a weird, odd movie. Is there any other media recommendations y'all have for this week?
Nothing I can really think of.
Alright. Well, this has been Gaming News. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back same time, same channel next week.
Have a good night.